Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to Camden Garden Centre. I'm going to give you some help with some gardening advice. Hi, I'm Mike from Camden Garden Centre in London and I'm going to show you how to care for a mother-in-law's tongue plant. That's the common name. Its botanical name is Sansevieria. And what you need is the plant itself, some water, some fertiliser. And here what I'm going to use are controlled release plant food tablets. As you see on the package down here, these feed for 6 months. Now in Britain and in the more northerly latitudes of the world, you don't feed houseplants in the winter months because they're resting. So although this only feeds for 6 months, in effect it feeds for the entire year, in as much as you apply these in April, and when they've been used up in September or October, when they become exhausted, the plant doesn't need to be fed anyway. If you look on the back of the container, it tells you how many tablets to use depending on the diameter of the pot. Now this pot is about 15 centimetres in diameter, so I'm going to use just one of these pellets. When you look at the pellets, the fertiliser is contained within each of these little bowls, and these bowls are coated with a resin, and this allows the fertiliser to be released from the tablets in a controlled fashion. They're very easy to use. Just make a hole in the compost about 1 inch deep, push the pellet in and then cover it up with soil again. Every time this plant's watered from now on, water will flow over those tablets and the nutrients will be released and flood the entire root ball with fertiliser, and that will keep your plant happy and healthy. When you're watering plants, it's important to do it correctly. I'm going to pour water on this now, and I want to make sure that I wet the entire root ball of the plant. So I let one lot of water pass through and then give it some more. And you want to put on sufficient water for that water to wet the entire root ball of the plant. Don't just put a little bit of water in, because if you only put a little bit of water in, that will saturate the top layer of the compost and yet leave the rest of it dry. And a lot of amateur gardeners, that's the mistake they make. They give a little bit of water regularly. The way to do it is to give a lot of water, but not to water them that frequently. Now, this is a succulent, and like its close allies, the cacti, they don't need to be watered very frequently at all. Now I'm going to lift this up, and I can feel that pot is fairly heavy because it's got so much water in, but it's still not thoroughly saturated. And you'll see the excess water is draining out of the drainage holes at the bottom of the plant. Wait until all that water's drained away, and then you can replace this plant back on its plant saucer indoors. Mother-in-law's tongue plants like quite brightly lit conditions, not direct sunlight, but brightly lit conditions. They are grown for their attractive leaves, although this particular specimen is starting to show flowers. The flowers haven't opened yet, they're little white flowers, but here they are in bud. And the plant's actually exuding excess sap, and you'll see these tiny little glistening droplets, and that's the sugars from the plant exuding out of the tissues. Mother-in-law's tongue plants are very easy plants to grow, and they're very tolerant. They'll tolerate cool conditions, hot conditions, bright conditions, shady conditions. So they're a very easy plant to grow if you've never grown houseplants before. And that's how to care for a mother-in-law's tongue.